Hi. You may remember that a few weeks ago I raised with you an idea that had been going around in my mind about how we as a church could perhaps more intentionally engage with issues of homelessness in our community. Well, here's the news. It wasn't my idea. It was clearly God's idea, because he'd been speaking to many of you about this long before he happened to mention it to me. I just want to say from the very get-go an enormous thank you for the great excitement, generosity, faith, vision that many of you have come to as we have engaged with this idea. Some of you may be wondering what on earth I'm talking about. Let me remind you that the vision that we had was to take possession of the lease of the bed and breakfast property that's immediately adjacent to St Augustine's Church on the Derby Road, and use it as a place where we can help support those who are in danger of homelessness, as well as to work with those who are trying to escape it. By placing a live-in centre manager in that facility, they will be there to work with clients and residents in gaining the necessary skills that would be needed to re-engage with normal society, as well as coordinating our response with other agencies, both in the voluntary and the public sector. I'm sorry that things have gone a little bit quiet over the last few weeks. In part that's been necessary as we've done all the negotiation that's needed to take place. We've had countless reports prepared and surveys conducted, and the results of those I'm now able to share with you. The good news is that the centre itself is ideal for our purpose. Its size and layout lends itself really well to the things that we're trying to achieve. There are some minor works that need to take place immediately, but nothing that you wouldn't expect for a building of its size and type and age. That said, there are some larger big ticket repairs that we would probably like to engage with further down the line, not least issues like the re-rendering of the exterior, which we believe would really help and enhance the building, keeping it dry and safe and warm. We have been trying to negotiate with the landlord a reduction in our rent to take into account some of these greater improvements that we would like to do over the course of our lease. I have to tell you that unfortunately those negotiations have come to naught and have been to no avail. And so if we were to press forward, we would do so on the understanding that there will be additional repair works to the property that we would need to fund. As a group of directors, we sat down and talked recently about the project, about the pros and cons of moving forward or not. And I have to say that discussion boiled down to one question. And the question was this: is God in this project or not? And as directors, we really felt that he was, that God was calling us to take this step of faith, to move forward and to engage with the most vulnerable in our community. We believe that we've had enough reports and surveys and due diligence done to make sure that we're not being foolish in this assessment. And although there is a step of faith to take, we believe that we do so in the full wisdom of the Holy Spirit. So that's where we are. I can tell you today that we are preparing to move forward with a lease of the property for 10 years that's going to have a 3 and a 5-year break clause in it. It's going to cost us £40,000, and we anticipate there's about £10,000 worth of setup and initial repairs that we need to do in order to enable us to begin to operate. Through a mixture of your generosity of loans and gifts, we're confident to this point. Those of you who have pledged money will be contacted very shortly by Beth just to double check that you're still in a position to go forward and happy to proceed, even though the building is going to require further improvements in the course of our tenure. Those of you who have been waiting to see whether this project is going to go forward, I can tell you, yes, it is. And now is the moment to come forward and talk to myself or to Beth or to David about how you can be financially involved. Of course, it's not just about the money. We're going to need all your support in so many different ways. I really hope this is a project that we can all be proud to be a part of. You know, I was talking to the leader of the council the other day, and she was just so really grateful for all that we're trying to do to address some of the issues in our town. When you see the Derbyshire Times and read headlines like we saw just the other week, we realise that this project has come at a really crucial and strategic time. So we're going to be keeping you posted much more regularly now as things develop. There'll be lots of practical ways that we're going to be inviting folks to get involved with us. We're going to be looking for people to adopt a room and to decorate it. We're going to need people who are going to come along and befriend. We need people with administrative and fundraising skills to help us balance the books and keep this ministry on track. Above all, we need people to pray. Do you know, for me personally, reading the book The Circle Maker has been deeply influential as I've approached this project. I myself, and I know others have as well, have circled the building in our prayers, and we are now tantalisingly close to taking possession of the keys. I believe the prayer focus now needs to shift towards praying for those who are going to work and stay in that premises. We need to be saturating every brick and stone with our prayers of love, so that Hope House can be a real place of healing, restoration, hope and salvation for many people. Do you know, we live in a really sceptical world, and that world is watching and wondering what on earth the point of the church is. And I say to you, let us respond with love in action, a love that cannot be ignored. Let us stand with the least and the lost and the lonely and the most vulnerable in our society, and let our response to this sceptical world be one of hope in Jesus Christ.